Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I am Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Together we are the Office Blokes.
Yes, we are.
Correct.
It's a true factual statement, all in a room. That's it.
Together.
Just in a room.
Office? In an office?
It's not
Studio.
Studio, isn't it?
Studio?
Yeah, there you go. Right,
I suppose so.
Norm Macdonald's Swedish-German joke. Someone sent
right.
this, because
Good.
I
Yeah,
think
not
we
heard
said
this
we
before, I
were...
don't think.
Struggling to get good pictures, weren't we?
Yeah.
Good video.
Yeah.
I think the quality may be a bit sketchy. I just looked and it's like 360p, which is like...
Well, that was the problem. We had
potato.
loads of Norm Macdonald, and I asked for good quality video.
So we've got one.
I had loads of them lined up, but they're all shit videos.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this is 4K.
It's 360p.
Who sent it?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Find out.
But yeah, we'll get straight into it. Norm Macdonald's Swedish-German joke.
He's good, man. He's good.
That's a can-do, Norm.
Which one's Norm?
The blurry one in the middle.
Yeah, the quality's shit.
It's from Conan as well, so
Pointless.
there should be a good quality version of this out there, because all Conan is on YouTube pretty much, isn't it?
You came charging out like
Yeah,
that.
because people, look at this audience, man. They don't care about that. Why? They like jokes.
The Swedes are with you.
They got flags. They got flags.
Yeah, they got flags and they're scoring you. You've got 3 9s and an 8 so far for your
Where are you guys
entrance.
from, man? Oh, sweet. That's Sweden?
Yeah.
God bless you, man. Everything's good about, you know, you're an Irishman. Me mother, she was orange. Me father, he was green. It was the biggest mix-up that you have ever seen. I'm Scottish. I'm a Scot. You're Irish.
Yes.
What are you?
Swedish German.
Swedish German. Are you really?
Yeah, really. Why would I lie about that? It's not
No, it's
funny.
very odd, 'cause
It's a very strange lie. I put one over on those people. Yeah.
Sweet.
You mean some of his German family went to Sweden in the 1940s? Bred with some of the Swedish people.
I always remember someone saying to me once something like they were half Swedish, half German, but also then put half Scottish at the end of it. So I went, right.
Yeah,
Sounds like thirds to me, that does.
Swedish German.
no, I tell you why it's funny, man. Because I was in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
I met a good old boy down there, and he said, "Have you ever?" He said, "You know Andy Richter?"
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
You met a guy in Georgia and he said, you know Andy Richter?
Oh yeah, you guys do well there.
Oh.
And he said, I said, yeah. He said, "Have you ever heard of Andy Richter joke?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, most of it's based on him being Swedish German." And then he told me an Andy Richter joke. And
Really?
but I didn't know he was Swedish German. I thought it was all nonsense.
Yeah, well, now this lines up perfectly. Let me ask you something, because it sort of relates to the first...
Wait, don't you want to hear the joke?
Oh, you're down to 6. You're down to 6. All right, this joke will get you back
Yeah,
up.
you can get him back.
Let's hear the joke.
Well, the fellow says, he says, "Man," he says, "you ever hear the time about the old prospector?" That's how he talks, you know?
Yeah.
He says, "Man, there was an old prospector, and he was prospecting for gold, and he was having a hell of a time getting any gold. It was an empty stake, I believe." And he said he'd come into town one day. He'd been in the mine for a good 8 months. He said, "By God," he said, I'm only flesh and blood. Sure. Yeah. And I need a woman, you know." And so he goes into town. He goes up to the bartender. He says, "Bartender," he says, "man, I've been in that mine for a hell of a long time, and I'm only flesh and blood. I need a woman." Well, the bartender says, "Hell, there ain't no women in this town. If you want to do any of that business, all we got is Andy Richter, the Swedish German." The prospector, he says, no, he says, "Hell, I ain't into that funny stuff, you know." He says, "I'll be fine." So he goes back to his state, you know, and he's back in that mine, man, and 6 months passes, and a year passes, and Conan, you know, people are weak. Man is made of flesh and pride, as the scriptures tell us, and by God, that old prospector finally broke to his knees and he said, "I'm no worse than..." Then he went back to the bar. He was a beaten man. He says to the bartender, he says, hell, man, I've been in that place 2.5 years. A man has needs, and if you say there's no women in this here town, he says, well, I'll have to go for Andy Richter, the Swedish German. But he says, listen now, he says, man, I'm a tough old hombre, you know, and I got friends now. He says, I don't want anybody to know about this. You know, this is back in the old days.
Sure, yeah.
He says,
I can tell by the accent, yeah.
he says, I got my cowpoke friends and so forth. I'd hate to hell anybody know about this. You know, this got to be all secret. Nobody. I say nobody can know about this. Bartender says, well, 4 people will know about it. How do you figure that? He says, well, he says, I'll know about it. He says, you'll know about it. Andy Richter, the Swedish German, will know about it. And the feller that has to hold down Andy will know about it.
Why?
Why? Because Andy Richter, the Swedish German, he don't go for that funny business neither.
Well, at least you left me my dignity.
Yeah.
I like the way that story ended.
Yeah,
That was a nice...
You weren't gay.
Right. Well, but that's not beside the point.
You were raped.
No, it's more. It's more that I wasn't prostituting myself.
Wow.
I've heard a similar joke.
Have you?
You not heard it? It's like a similar thing where but it's a donkey or a horse.
Yeah.
And then the woman comes in and she says, finally a woman turns up in town. And he says, well, I'm glad you turned up. Don't I have my needs and what's it? And he says, yeah, I'm here to help. You just grab the other side of the donkey while
Nice. Yeah, I like, he's such a unique mind, Norm Macdonald, wasn't he? And I've heard people say that he just simmered in what other comedians would call bombing. You know, he absolutely loved the uncomfortable feeling.
the awkwardness of it.
Jokes just going nowhere and people just scratching their heads.
I watched a comic last night, and talking about what you're saying there about Norm, the way he is, like he's very awkward and very just sort of like he goes off the track, he goes off on one, but it's funny the way he goes off on it.
Yeah,
he comes back round to meet it, you know, sort of thing. It's funny. There was a comedian last night, Fiona is her name. It's John Richardson's wife.
Oh god, yeah, I know I've never seen a comedy. They've got a TV show together, haven't they?
She wasn't doing stand up. She was on a show.
Right.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen was her last night.
I
the way
think-
she carried
Really?
on, she was hysterical.
I think I saw that because I thought it was her sort of thing, but I'm sure I saw a bit of that John Richardson programme, but she wasn't that funny. And because I was wondering who it was at first, and Nick said, that's the one with John Richardson.
How funny is she?
Sure?
She's
Was
proper
it on
funny.
was it on the
Would I Lie to You? Yeah.
That's what exactly.
How funny was it?
I thought she was absolutely hilarious.
Mate, I was crying. It was like laughter was streaming, tears were streaming down. It was that funny.
But when I looked at her, I couldn't believe it. I thought it seems like
I was
a different
laughing
person.
hard. Yeah,
She's
She's
proper,
really
she's proper
funny.
northern, isn't she?
yeah.
Yeah.
She's like
But
Charlie or something.
she had a proper like vibe of
so.
Norm Macdonald for me. The way she just sort of like said
Wow.
the most awkward stuff,
Yeah.
and went nowhere with a joke, but then reflected back on it, and it was dead. Then she kind of went back about 2 minutes after what she said something with a punchline of what she said 2 minutes before.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Wow.
genius.
It just suited
Yeah,
that
it
program,
did.
didn't it?
It was
really
dead
good.
funny.
It's
Yeah.
a good program actually.
Yeah,
I
it was.
love it.
Maybe I've prejudged her based off him a little bit because I don't
She's
find him
super
funny.
funny.
I think I did.
She's super
Without
funny,
doubt.
mate.
Yeah.
She's very, very dry.
Because he's just very square and very boring, isn't he? And I assumed that they would both be like that.
I must have seen her before on something, but I mean I couldn't remember her until I saw her with John Richardson. If you know what I mean, I don't know.
But I got proper Norm vibes when I was watching her.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's hard
really
to pull
good.
that off because if you don't know the sort of the comic and you've got no faith in him, if you go to a comedy night and you've never heard of him and they're just rambling on with no proper punchlines and stuff, I can see why a lot of people would be like, this person's shit.
But what they do it quick, where they do one of them jokes, but they do it real quick to get you.
Yeah.
And then they'll do a longer one, then a longer one, and then when they bring it back up, and then they'll probably reference the first joke in the last joke.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Sometimes
Makes
he'd
it
add
funnier.
little bits along the way, won't he, just to get people laughing again, you know, just... I think he just ad libs a little bit here and there as well, don't he? You know, when he sees Chicago, he'll think of something, he'll just throw something else.
Well,
in.
that's ad lib, wasn't it? He's put Andy Richter into the joke. It wasn't a joke
Yeah.
about Andy Richter, but he's
Yeah,
used it that, so he's made it all about Andy.
Yeah.
And he's a funny guy. Norm's just
Really,
hysterical,
yeah,
great.
really
Yeah,
funny.
He was probably one of the first comedians that I really, when we first went to the USA, where you hook onto one of them comedians and think, this is who I want to watch a lot of.
It's just sort of different again, isn't it? He's delivering everything. It's just the way he does it. It's
yeah,
it's
great.
a bit of a one-off.
Nice.
Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.